Oh, yes.
Where's Rachel? Where is she? Where'd you... Harvey? Where did you put her? Where did Harvey put Rachel? Hello. Hello. You're watching Nerdish. I lost my shoe. You gotta put your shoe back on. Very good. What are we doing here? Well, we do SAT, ACT prep for everyone. Yes, and the question is not where is Rachel, but when. 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's when Rachel is. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Watch it. Just see what it's like. It's for free. All week long. You can ask us questions like where's Rachel and what you do with Rachel and where is Harvey Dent. They're both studying for the SAT. It's a very important test if you want to go to college or university. Nice. I should have said university first because it rhymes. Oh, that's Catwoman. That's okay. I think we know Catwoman because we're Batmen. Let's do a problem. Yeah. We did exponents last time. What should we do? Let's factor a quadratic. Okay. Man, when it comes to education, I'm an addict. Oh my god, but not that kind of addict. No, just a quadratic addict. I hope this is factorable. Oh, it's gonna be factorable. Add 6. Okay. 6 is for Rachel. Alright. Let's take out a 2. Let's make it equal to 0. That's a good idea. Okay. So let's factor out 2. X squared minus 2. How much time do we have before Rachel explodes? Ask Harvey. Harvey. Multiply to positive 3, add to negative 2. I don't think that's possible. Oh, shoot. That's okay. Sometimes you can't factor quadratics. And sometimes you can't save Rachel. I was about to say that. I'm so sorry. No, it's good. It shows that we're tight bonded, like Tight Bond, original wood glue. It has a tight bond, like me and Levi.
Hello, everybody. I don't know who's here. I got a couple people watching. How is everybody doing on this lovely evening? Brady will be here. He's just finishing up whatever his child is. Hey, Ring Matthews. How are you? What's going on? What do you want to do today? Do you want to take a break from the reading section and go to math, or you want to still do more reading? Up to you. Whatever you and everybody else wants. You're probably basically the only one here right now. So we can do whatever you want. What would you like? I can just pull up the thing again. If that's what you want. Just let me know. Yeah, we can continue with reading and writing. I think there was a writing. Let's go back to that writing question. Ah, shoot. Did I close the page? Of course I did. Yeah, I gotta reopen this thing. Give me a sec. Open with other. Okay. There we go. Nope. All right. Yeah. I'm a little tired of reading. Let's do some writing stuff. We did 22 at the end of last night, right? So let's do 17 here. 1 second, gotta get my markers. Levi, wait. Bird, I can't wait.
Levi, wait.
Bird, I can't wait.
Did you start the stream?
I did start the stream.
You started the stream?
I started the stream without you.
Without me?
Yeah.
You've never streamed without me.
Wait, don't go anywhere.
Oh, jeez.
That's
Okay.
right here. This is just us. We're streaming in this sliver
Oh,
for
this
the
is a
rest
nice
of the time.
sliver stream.
Yeah.
What are you guys reading?
This is writing, actually. We're doing number 17. and then you can take over.
I love 17.
Yeah, you do love 17. Okay, so this question type is transition, right? We have because of this, in the years that followed, and to everyone's dismay, and then the given one in A is in spite of their contributions. So, yeah, we did 22, so let's do 17. Transitions. In spite of their contributions, that is contrast, right? In spite, we have A, in spite of A, B. So that's that relationship that A creates. And then B, we have because of this. That's causal. So that means your first idea causes your second idea. So A and B are very different. Matthew says hi.
Yay!
Then we have in the years that followed. That's chronological, right? So one thing happens, then the next thing happens. And then D, to everyone's dismay. Okay, it's not exactly relating the idea before and the idea after, but it's definitely setting up the idea after. So we'll see. I would say don't try D first necessarily. But D is definitely saying something bad happens after. That's all we know. So reading this, we have... I'm going to now identify the two ideas, right? The idea before our transition, I'll do that now. So let's read the whole paragraph. So the fragments immediately captured the public's imagination. Yeah, just right at the top of the page here. The fragments immediately... Okay, so fragments is the name. Fragments immediately captured the public's imagination. Equally captivating was McPherson's hint in the preface that an epic poem, might be recovered through further study of ancient manuscripts and oral traditions in the Highlands. Excited patrons provided McPherson with funds to undertake a research trip. They were not disappointed. Okay, so McPherson says that we might get an epic poem out of fragments, and people are excited about this, so they give him lots of money, right, so that he can research it. And they weren't disappointed. That's what we already have. They were not disappointed by the funds they gave him. The second idea, ignoring the underlined portion, we have McPherson published 2 epic poems, Fingal and Tomorrow, which recounted the feats of ancient Gaelic warriors. McPherson claimed that the poems had been written by Ossian. Okay, so that means that he put out fragments, which were some poems, and then he published, and people wanted epic, he hinted that there could be epic poems, and then people said, oh, we'll give you a bunch of money to do more research, and then soon after, he came out with 2 epic poems. So he gave them what he wanted, which would make sense. They also gave us, they were not disappointed. So then we have, in spite of their contributions. That doesn't make sense, because what happened was, he said, I could do this thing, people gave him money to do the thing, and then he did the thing. So therefore, in spite of this doesn't work. Because of this, maybe. Let's hold on to that for a second. And then in the years that followed, that makes sense. In the years that followed, he published 2 epic poems. Great. And then to everyone's dismay, no, again, that's a negative, but we're saying that what he did after is a positive. So that's how I would get rid of A and D for those reasons. Matthew, what did you put for this answer choice, or for this question? And then B versus C. We have because of this, and in the years that followed. In the years that followed is fine. It might not sound as nice to you as because of this, because of this is a stronger setup, right? It is a stronger transition, which is fine, but that doesn't mean it's right. And I get worried when I see an answer that's okay, and then an answer that's very strong, because maybe the okay one has to be correct. So the problem with B, when it says because of this, what is this? It's a pronoun and it references something else, right? What is the thing it's referencing? I would say, so the previous sentence is, excited patrons provided McPherson with funds to undertake a research trip. They were not disappointed. Because of this, McPherson published 2 epic poems. They were not disappointed is the immediate preceding idea, which means that because of them not being disappointed, McPherson came out with 2 epic poems. That's not quite right. If it were saying because they gave him a bunch of money, he came out with 2 epic poems, that would make more sense. But it's saying they gave him a bunch of money and they were not disappointed. Because of their lack of disappointment, he came out with something. Doesn't make sense. That is the wrong relationship, so C is the answer. It's pretty plain, but it's the only one that's correct. Does that make sense to everybody who's here? Bert, I was thinking you could do, are there any questions in the Discord? Or no? Okay. I was thinking you could do possibly the, I said on the...
Parabolas?
Yeah, but not vertex form, but given, you know, ax squared minus 3x plus 1, rather doing factoring so that you can get the... Basically just graph it via x-intercepts and vertex rather than vertex form.
Sure. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah?
You want to give me an equation?
I would love to.
I would like you to do that.
Let's say you have f of x equals x squared.
Are you about to give me a coefficient?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. You know me too well. Oh, no.
Start just right there.
All right.
See how that goes.
All right. Well, you want to factor as much as you can. That's kind of number one here. You factor, the factors let you know what the x-intercepts are. So I'm going to pull out a negative x. They both have negative in them and they have x. Pull in a negative x, what I get here is going to be 2x plus 3. Just make sure that negative 2x squared minus 3x. Yes, that is the same thing right there. All right, so our two factors are negative x and 2x plus 3. And the way we get our x-intercepts is we set each of those equal to 0, and we find what the x values are going to be. So this right here, we set this equal to 0. The fact that it's negative x doesn't really do much. It's still going to be x is equal to 0. And if we set this thing equal to 0, we're going to get x is equal to negative 3 over 2. So those are our two x-intercepts. We can throw them on the graph. We got this right here. That's not, there we go. Okay. And we got negative 3 halves, which is going to be negative 1 and a half. Okay. We got those two so far. So the next question is this parabola going to open up or down? And I know that it's going to open down because of this right here. Our a value is negative 2. Keep in mind that standard form looks like this. And our a value is the coefficient of x squared. If the a value is positive, the thing's going to open upward. If it's negative, it's going to open downward. This one's negative, so it's going to open downward. Okay. The next thing, the y-intercept. The y-intercept of this is actually 0. The y-intercept you can get by putting all the x's equal to 0. And if we take our equation here and make all the x's here 0, this is going to be one big fat 0. So our y-intercept is also going to be 0, but we already have that. Turns out that the origin is both an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So, and Levi, you want me to find the vertex, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then the other thing we want to figure out, if it opens downward, there's still a lot of different possibilities for what this thing could look like. It can go really, really high up and then down. It can go up just a little bit and then go down, all that stuff. So we have to figure out where the vertex this is going to be. And so you have to remember this formula. The x-coordinate of the vertex of a parabola in standard form is minus b over 2a. So in this case, it's going to be our b value, which is the coefficient of x, is negative 3. So if we do minus b, that's going to flip it and make it positive 3. And then our a value is negative 2. So it's going to be 2 times negative 2. Which is going to give us, this is going to be negative, so negative 3 over 4. That is the x-coordinate of our vertex. And also that is the axis of symmetry. The vertex is right in the middle of the parabola, and it cuts the parabola in half, in 2 equal halves. So sometimes you see a little vertical dotted line, which is called the axis of symmetry, which happens in this case at negative 3/4. So I will just throw that on there, even though you don't typically see it. And it's going to be like right here. Oh, this is a nice marker. Okay, so our vertex is going to be somewhere on there, but how high up or how down? How high down? Wow. How far up or how far down? Now you plug your x-coordinate for x back into your equation and you find what the y value would be. So we're going to find what f of -3/4 would be. And that's going to be equal to -2 times our x value, which is -3/4 squared, minus 3 times -3/4. All right. So we got -2 times, this is going to be 9/16 plus 9/4. That's -18/16 plus, I'm going to multiply both of these by 4. It's going to give us 36/16. That's 36 minus 18, which is going to be 18/16, which is 9/4. No, sorry, 9/8. This is a disaster. I'm going to make it like a boxy 8. Yeah, 9/8. That's like 1.125. All right, so that means our vertex is right around here, a little bit above the 1 mark. So at this point, I mean, you can find more points to plot by saying, okay, what's f of -2 or what's f of 1? But we know it's going to look something like this, something like that. Okay. Yeah. Our viewership is down by half from what it was about 3 minutes ago. That means
It's always good.
I'm doing something well. Parabolas are in season. They're in demand. Everyone is talking about them. Everybody wants the newest parabola on the block to keep up with the Joneses. And I have nothing to add to that. Hey, you want to do another one?
Me?
I mean, I can make up one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be a hoot and a half. Okay. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. Okay.
Do you know Stan Mazzo?
No.
Okay.
Who is this person? Should I be worried?
No, somebody on our Facebook stream.
Okay. Did he just comment? What did he say? How come I didn't see it on the stream?
It was a message.
Okay. Good message, bad message?
Good.
Is he pissed? I feel like he's pissed. Is he really angry at us?
No.
All right. That's my first reaction is what if they're mad at us? I'd be mad at a couple cool guys doing streaming of ACT, SAT prep. Right? Okay, this is still wet. Okay. Very good, very good. Hey, don't be afraid to ask us your questions. We love your questions. Levi thinks about your questions all the time. Sometimes that's all he wants to talk about with me. It's like, Levi, remember before this all happened when you didn't used to think about their questions? Because
Yes.
oh, I mean, I was thinking hypothetically. You do remember. Can we go back to that?
No.
I feel like having their questions is just ruining our relationship.
Bird.
You don't tell me I'm the only one who thinks that.
You're the only one who thinks that.
Oh, Levi. I don't know. X squared. Here we go. Ready? Okay. No. Okay. All my questions are reading, LOL. You taught all your questions how to read? That's awesome. That's really something, Ring Matthews.
All right, do this, and then I'll hop back to Ring Matthews.
Sounds good. All right, so we want to factor this. What multiplies to -24 and adds to 2? Let's see. 1 and 24. No. 2 and 12. No. 3 and 8. No. 4 and 6. Oh, 4 and 6. That's something. It adds up to something positive, so the bigger one needs to be positive. So 6 and -4 are our potential suitors. X squared plus 6x. No, hold on. I'm ready to go straight to parentheses. I don't know what I'm doing. Our factors are x plus 6, x minus 4. Excellent. Excellent. Get it? Because of like x and stuff. Good. Which means our solutions, or our x-intercepts, are going to be negatron 6 and positron 4. Let's draw this thing. This marker is so nice. We gotta get more markers like this. Okay. Or I just shouldn't destroy them. Yeah, maybe that.
You left-handed wench.
Hey, watch it. Watch it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got a point. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay. Your axis of symmetry is always going to be directly between these two. It has to be. They're mirror images of each other. So I could actually figure out what that's going to be by just saying, okay, what is the midpoint of -6 and 4? The midpoint of -6 and 4... Stop.
No,
If you add them up and divide by 2, that's the midpoint. Midpoint is like the average of two numbers. You're going to find what's right between them if you take their average. -6 and 4, you add them up, you get -2. Divided by 1, you get -1. So -1 is the axis of symmetry, and also where our vertex is going to be located. And if you don't believe me, minus b over 2a is going to give you -2 over 2 times 1, which is equal to negatron 1. Now we plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. When no one is around, you put the -1 in the formula. -1 minus 4. I'm putting it into the factored form rather than the original form just because you can do whatever you want. It's your life. It's a free country. -1 minus 4, -5. This gives us -25. Is that right? Let me think about this. 1 plus 2 is going to give you 3. No, hold on. -1. Oh, that's why. That's why. 1 minus 2. -1 minus, yeah, -25. Okay, so that means that our vertex is very far down. And this thing opens upward because our coefficient, our a value, is +1. So if this is -1, woo, I'm gonna put it down here. It's gonna be right down there. That seems like it's probably valid. And then we're gonna connect our axis of symmetry up here, and we're gonna go that way. And this should be more rounded than I made it. I'm sorry about that. This is gonna go up through that, and whammo blammo, kajam! You got yourself a parabolam, ma'am. Is that our new catchphrase? Did I just make it?
Why not, my lord?
Oh, okay, okay, very exciting. And that's parabolas with me.
Is it my turn?
I'm still giving him a smile.
Oh. Probably scaring them all away.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, come on up, huh? Yeah, let's get you up here. I'm excited for you.
All right. Let's see how this goes.
Very good.
You. Bam. All right. So you want reading stuff, yes? Let's do... What was the one we were doing? Oh, we did... No.
No?
Let's do 50. Okay. Ring Matthews, are you still here? Say hi. And then we'll do number 50. I have such a headache.
Why?
I don't know.
You shouldn't have one.
I tried not to all day.
Did you hate that?
Yeah.
This is all recycled paper, right?
You don't think we did 11? Oh, the main idea. Okay. Sorry?
This is all recycled paper.
Probably. Wait, did I miss it? Yes. Okay.
Yes, it is.
So this is the water demand one Bogota, right? All right. So.
I like that song.
Okay. The main purpose of the passage. Okay, so now we're on main purpose. Let's work through this. It's going to be elimination more than anything else. Analyze the underlying reasons for a city's environmental challenges. Not quite. They have an environmental challenge, which is water shortage. and they're dealing with that, and they're facing challenges with how to deal with their water shortage. But analyzing the underlying reasons for the environmental challenge is not what they're doing. It's at a slightly different point. So we have, let's simplify it. We have pollution, and that leads to water shortage, which leads to them, the whole passage is about conservation, right? So this is the order of things. There's pollution, there's global warming, whatever. They lose a lot of water. There's a water shortage as a result of that. Therefore, the passage is about how they're trying to get people to conserve water to deal with this problem. But A is asking us, or it's saying that the main idea of the passage is to analyzing the underlying reasons for the challenges in the beginning. This is the underlying reason. They are not analyzing pollution or something like that. They don't even mention it, I don't think. So A is wrong for that reason. It's saying, you're thinking, oh, it's the underlying problems here. I put B. I can see why it's wrong because it's not necessarily two emergencies, just two strategies. Let's see, compare the strategies used by a city in managing two emergencies. Exactly. Good. Exactly. So that's why B is wrong. And then C, we have promote the technology used by a city to cope with an ongoing difficulty. I'm not sure, I haven't read this in a little bit, but the technology thing, it doesn't really please me all that much.
Why not, Lou?
It's not really about promoting technology. And then D is discuss an effective city initiative to address a critical situation. I think D is the right answer. I don't think it's a very cool answer. I don't think it's very, fun and flirty, Bird. I don't think it's very fun and flirty, but I think D is correct because it's not wrong. It's discuss an effective, talks about an effective city initiative. It does that. I mean, first it starts with an ineffective one, but then it talks about an effective city initiative to deal with a critical situation, which is their water shortage. Yes, you want a more specific, yeah, D makes sense. Good. Yeah, you want a specific answer, you just don't get it here, and that's fine, but that's why we're proving things wrong. Okay, let's move on. Wait, was there anything before this or no? Did we do 3 and 4? Yes, we did, right? Yes, okay. Or 3 and 8, whatever. So we did these, and now we're here, right? This is a hard passage. I was a little uncomfortable looking at this passage. So, might get them wrong, because I don't remember. These are the international human rights law thing. Okay. So, I'm looking at 36. I just have to read it down here. I'll read it up here. In passage 2, Posner's use of the phrase none of your business primarily serves to create a...
That's some pretty wry stuff over there.
Is it?
I think so.
Thanks, Bird. Okay, so we're going to line 47. It's not what he says, it's why he says it. This is a purpose question. They literally say purpose. Or no, they say serves to. Okay, so it serves to create something. Purpose question, let's figure out what they say, and then figure out why they say it. So, line 47. We have... I'm going to go to line 43 just to start the sentence. Because human rights laws because human rights law gives rights to all people regardless of nationality, it deprives governments of their traditional riposte when foreigners criticize them for abusing their citizens, namely sovereignty, which is law speak for none of your business. Okay. Thus, international human rights law provides people with invaluable protections against the power of the state. Okay. So it would be good to fully understand what this means, but we get a sense, they say sovereignty in quotes, and then they give you a non-essential in parentheses that is defining sovereignty in their way. Obviously, this isn't the official definition of sovereignty, but it is passage 2's. Law speak for none of your business. Sovereignty is none of your business. That's what it means. So looking at the answer choices, we have thoughtful tone that encourages reflection. on how a term has shifted in significance. I don't think none of your business, which is the term we're discussing here, is thoughtful, and I don't think it encourages reflection. So I think those are wrong. Hey Hono, how are you? Good to see you. We're just doing more reading section stuff. But if you have questions, throw them in the Discord, we'll do them. Matthew, does that make sense? 36A not being right. Now B, we have suspicious tone that casts doubt. I'm not even going to read the rest of it because I don't think this is suspicious. None of your business isn't very suspicious to me. I guess you could kind of force that into being suspicious, but it's not. Now, if you think it is, then we can talk about it a little bit further and look at the rest of the question. But suspicious is bad. If I were taking this test, I would cross off the word suspicious immediately. C, comical tone. I'm going to cross off, well, okay, comical is not terrible. Not terrible, so I'll leave it. Comical tone that conveys a disapproving view of how a term has been used. Okay. Oh, sorry, no. I combined C and D. Comical tone that suggests how a term has been misinterpreted. Okay. So my explanation for A kind of makes sense. We're trying to see what is, the term none of your business creates a sense of, or a thoughtful tone. I don't think it's thoughtful to say none of your business. I don't think it's suspicious to say none of your business. This is not like a mystery novel that's being written, so it's not some shady character saying none of your business. It's state governments saying none of your business, supposedly. So that's not suspicious in my opinion. Comical tone that suggests how a term has been misinterpreted. I think comical is okay, and then how the term has been misinterpreted. I don't quite think that's what they're saying here. We can talk about that. I will talk about that more in depth, but first let's go to D. A wry tone that conveys a disapproving view of how a term has been used. I like that one. If you don't know what wry means, that's fine, because I genuinely don't know how to define that. But
It's
how would you define wry?
It's like dry humor.
Dry humor. Okay, so dry. That's a very good definition. Wry means dry humor. So yeah, this is a bit of dry humor because they're defining sovereignty as none of your business. And then we have which conveys a disapproving view of how a term has been used. I like that because in this passage or in this paragraph, it's saying that human rights law gets rid of something that state governments can sometimes do when they're accused of abusing their citizens, which is they say, we're sovereign. This is none of your business. So they're saying that, D is saying that the author is disapproving of that use of sovereignty of, we're sovereign, you don't get to pay attention, or you don't get to say anything. It's our business, not yours. So I like D. The problem with C is that comical is a little strong. I don't love it. But then I don't think they're not saying the term has been misinterpreted. The term has been misused or used for, sovereignty is supposed to be a good thing, right? We are sovereign from being controlled by other people. But the author here is saying that they're using the term sovereignty as none of your business. We want to abuse our citizens without any of your interference. That's what's going on here. Do you have any questions? Do you want me to clarify anything in this question? The general approach is it's a purpose question. You want to see if you can prove everything. You're trying to prove everything wrong. Every piece you're trying to prove wrong. I think the easiest portion is thoughtful, suspicious, comical, wry, because they say that's the type of tone, and then that tone does something. A and B, I got rid of relatively quickly. And C is a little bit off. I like D. I don't know. I think Matthew is very laggy. I think that's the issue. You got it. Cool. Let's move on. Oh boy. All right. Both passages. So this is after you've read both passages, clearly. You have both passages clarify the nature of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by... Okay, so how do they describe the nature of this document? Comparing it to notable international agreements of the past, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back. They would have to literally do that, right? They'd have to compare it to other international agreements. Distinguishing it from legally binding documents, I feel like they did that. Demonstrating its basis in key democratic principles. I don't think they did that one. And then emphasizing its wide adoption by diverse governments. I don't think it did D. I'm pretty sure it didn't do D. It doesn't talk about those things specifically. So let's go back to A, comparing it to notable international agreements of the past. So let's see if passage 2 does that. That's right here. Oh, well, in paragraph, with line 50 here, they do, or with that paragraph, they do talk about a bunch of countries. But that's not about them adopting it. That's just asking about why so many countries engage in torture. But that's why answer choice D is there to trip you up, I think. Okay, so nothing there about comparing it to other documents. Then we have, although modern notion... I don't see it comparing it to another document here. Maybe I'm missing it, but I don't, in paragraph, or in passage 2, I don't see that they are clarifying the nature of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by comparing it to other notable international agreements. They do talk about an international agreement in line 60, or paragraph starting on line 65 up on the other side there, but it is literally the one we're talking about. So it's not comparing it to itself. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't like A, I don't like D. Distinguishing it from legally binding documents.
Legally binding documents.
I think that one's pretty good. I think. Oh, yeah, okay, so line 73, 74. It's B, and actually it kind of does that because it shows how it's not enforceable. Yes, in the last paragraph, it says the Universal Declaration was not a treaty in the formal sense, : no one at the time believed that it created legally binding obligations. There you go, not legally binding. So that's there, and if the answer is B, I'm sure it's in paragraph or passage 1 as well. Neo, hi. Would you say that the SAT reading is harder than the ACTs? It depends on what you have trouble doing. So the ACT reading is harder in the sense that you have to go faster. The SAT reading is harder in that the questions are more confusing, in my opinion. I personally like the SAT reading more because I am a very slow reader and I get stressed when I can't take my time reading. And I do like working through the confusing nature of the SAT questions because they're not needlessly confusing. They are complicated and they're asking very specific things, and the answer choices give you pretty good wrong answers. And they're not correct at all, but they seem good, and I like working through those things. Honestly, they're both hard for speed and complexity, ACT, SAT, respectively. I would say try both, see how you do. You don't have to do them officially, just try some passages or sections from both timed, see how it goes. Okay. Is that everything, or do we have another? Migration of brine shrimp. This is the last one, and then we can do other stuff. Also, please ask questions in the Discord. I am going through an official test here, an old one, but if you have your own questions, please put them in the chat, put them in the Discord, and I will get to those next. I'm doing this because someone asked, but there's a lot of questions in a row, so ask your questions and I will hop around. Okay, if you don't know what the Discord is or how to find it, ask in chat and somebody will tell you, myself included, me included, whatever. Which choice best supports the idea that the migration of brine shrimp may not have the effect suggested by DeBeery and Walrus, dude? So this is the evidence question thing. It's not two parts, it's just the second part. So the idea that we're trying to support is the idea that the migration of brine shrimp may not have the effect that DeBeery thought. So number one, we need to know what DeBeery thought about the brine shrimp. So I think DeBeery, what is it, right here? Or here? Okay, so it looks like DeBeery, oh yeah, so DeBeery had the brine shrimp move up and down, right? And that created flow patterns in the water, right? So that's what they think is happening. They think that the brine shrimp movement will create currents. So we want to go against that idea. It's what best supports the idea that the migration might not have that effect. Lines 52 to 55. Shoot. Oh, okay. 52 to 55, we say, I wouldn't... ACTB, oh. Hey, Joker Tennis. How are you? We have somebody from YouTube. Just so you know, Joker Tennis on YouTube, most of the people are on Twitch, so if you have Twitch or no Twitch at all, go there, because then you can see what other people are saying a little bit more easily. Or you can actually see it at all. Okay, so 52 to 55, we have, but scientists disagree, I wouldn't want to say just yet that biomixing is important at a global scale. Wait, what were these? Sorry, I need to figure out exactly what these line numbers are. 52 to 55, starting with I wouldn't, oh, university, okay. I wouldn't want to say just yet that biomixing is important at a global scale, solely based on a lab experiment, says this person, a fluid mechanicist. Okay, I don't know what biomixing is. I forget what they said in this passage.
It's when, like, animal life actually mixes up the water from lower and
So it
higher
is exactly
depths.
what it's saying. So this is somebody saying I disagree, right? They're saying I wouldn't necessarily say this. So that's good, but it's not great. I don't love it because they're asking for what choice best supports the idea that this migration might not have the effect of biomixing, and somebody saying they wouldn't necessarily say it. That to me doesn't seem like great support, but it might be, so I'm not getting rid of it. Let me know if that makes sense. 56 to 58. We have most of the energy from the shrimp probably goes into heating the water rather than mixing it, he says. I like that much better. That's what it's the same guy talking, but this time he's saying exactly what's happening, and I think that's better support rather than I don't think this. He says, I don't think this because this specific phenomenon. I want to use the phenomenon itself that is explained as the reasoning. So I like B better than A. C, 63 to 67. Oh boy. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so in that research, is that where we're starting? Yes, to water. In that research, here-ish, on the other side, we have, where did it go? In that research, Noss and colleague Andreas Lorck, also of whatever, studied the effects of large crowds of aquatic creatures called Daphnia, commonly known as water fleas, as they migrated up and down in a tank. Okay, so that's just saying these people studied this thing. It does not say exactly what happened. It's not supporting a new idea. I don't like C. D, 71 to 73. DeBeery says. Great, so that's the last paragraph just above this question. We have DeBeery and his colleagues' next set of lab experiments will look at the effects of sea monkey migrations in stratified waters, he says. Okay, great, so that's what he's studying next. I think B is the right answer. It is the most straightforward evidence that would go against the idea of biomixing. Debiri likes biomixing, so the lines at the end of this paragraph where you see the line numbers 50 and 55. The end of that paragraph, most of the energy from the shrimp probably goes into heating the water, not mixing it, rather than mixing it. That is the most straightforward evidence for it. Matthew, does that make sense? Anybody else watching who has been following along, does that make sense? This is a challenging question because you have to do an extra thing. You have to know exactly what Debiri says so that you can find an idea that supports not that. I think C and D are pretty clear, are hopefully pretty clearly irrelevant. A is very relevant, but it's not support for it. It's just saying, this is what I think. Very good. Okay. Bird, I think you're up. You're going to do a math problem.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Are you working on one right now?
Big time.
Or is that your own stuff?
This is my own stuff. All right.
Wait, sorry. I got to answer this real quick. Why is A wrong? Okay, so the question specifically says which choice best supports the idea that the migration doesn't cause biomixing, right? So I'm paraphrasing the question. I replaced what they asked for. The effect suggested by Debiri and the other person is biomixing, right? And so now you have, I don't believe biomixing because shrimp make heat not mixing. Okay, so ignoring bad grammar and this not actually being word for word what was said in this passage. This is answer choice A. This is answer choice B. This is better evidence of the idea that biomixing might not, or the shrimp might not have the effect that we think. Somebody says, I don't think this is happening. And that's very straightforward. It's definitely relevant to the question. It's definitely talking about what they want. But it's not a good support for it. It's just a person saying, this is what I think. Now, they are a very smart person. They are a professor and a researcher and a fluid mechanicist or whatever. But that's not quite as cut and dry as shrimp probably make heat, not movement. I don't know if you remember doing this the first time, Matthew, but if you put A, what did you think about B, C, and D? Did you see A and say, okay, that is just so on the nose that that's the right answer, and you moved on? Because you know what Matthew said last night?
Huh.
He said, sometimes I just like an answer, it's okay, and then I move on.
Uh-oh. Did he not read all of them?
Yeah.
He's got to read all of them.
I know.
Did you tell him that?
I told him that.
Okay.
I was very upset, but I had nobody to complain to. All right. Matthew, you don't seem particularly enthused about that explanation of mine. They're asking for evidence. They're not asking for what was literally said. They want what best supports this idea, not where does it say this idea. Skim. Yeah, fine. Don't skim anything. Or the answer choices, never skim them. If you're skimming them, you're doing exactly what they expect you to do to get the wrong answers. Then you're just picking out the ideas and not having necessarily the exact relationship you want between them, and you are getting things wrong for that reason. You're lagging a lot. Okay, that's fine. All right. Bird, you're up.
Okay.
Is there a specific question?
No. No,
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
gonna do some more math, I think.
Woo! Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Another parabola? Any of you guys have math questions? Use me. Use me, and then... no.
Nope.
Just let me know what you want me to talk about. I can talk about parabolas. I like talking about them. I was thinking about doing it, actually. I was thinking about making a quadratic equation and then just making a graph of it. I don't know. I can do that. I can do it. You think I can't? I can do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do something else. Maybe something like this. Yeah.
You would.
Graphing a cubic. You gotta factor it. It's a polynomial, you gotta factor it. You might say, this is not a quadratic, how do I factor this thing? It's got 4 terms. There is a way to factor something with 4 terms. In select instances, you can use factor by grouping. Okay? Look at the first 2 terms. X cubed minus 5x squared. What can I take out of both of those? I can take out an x squared. Inside, I'm going to have x minus 5. Fantastic.
Not 3, Milo.
Very good. All right. As long as I can actually take x minus 5 from the other side as well, then this was factorable. And it turns out I can if I just put a plus 1 out front. All right. Plus 1 times that will be the same thing as plus x minus 5. So now I take the things out front, x squared and plus 1, put them in their own set of parentheses, because everybody's got to have a home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And minus 5. Here is the factored form. Here's the factored form. All right, we're doing better, right? We're doing better, okay? We want to find the x-intercepts. That's kind of a lot of what graphing parabolas and polynomials is you got to find those x-intercepts. Hold on, I have to yawn. Very good, very good. It's not because I find this boring, it's because I'm tired. I had a big day.
You had an enormous day.
I had an enormous day, all right?
30 hours in your day today.
Absolutely. You set both of these equal to 0. Let's see if you can solve them. X squared is equal to -1. X is equal to plus or minus I. Okay, well, that's not going to actually show up on your x-intercept because that is a complex number. All right, well, better luck next time. This one, on the other hand, is going to be great. X is equal to 5. That's awesome. All right, that's great. It's great to hear. Everyone's excited. So we're definitely going to go through x is equal to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? The next thing, Y-intercepts. Y-intercepts are nice because they're very easy to find. They're the constant at the very end of the equation, if there is one. Okay? Your y-intercept is where your x is 0. If you're crossing the y-axis, it means that your x value is 0. So you plug 0 in for all the x terms here. All right? So all of these will just disappear because no matter what power you take 0 to, it's still 0. All we're left with is -5, which means that our y-intercept is -5. All right? So we have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. -5. All right, this thing is starting to really take shape. All right, I think I know exactly what this thing's going to look like from the 2 points we have here. The next thing is, what is the end behavior of this going to be? Is this going to look something like this? Is it going to look something like this? Is it going to be something like this, or maybe like this? What's the overall shape of this thing going to be? Well, it's a cubic. It is odd. If you have an odd polynomial, then the 2 arms, as it were, will go different directions. Like this or like this. Even polynomial, they're both going to go up or they're both going to go down. Odd polynomial, they're both going to do this, they're both going to do this. And you could turn it into a fun dance move to bust out at the discotheque. No one will know that you're thinking about the degrees of polynomials in their graphs, but you'll know, and that'll make all the difference. So this thing is cubic. It's going to be one of these where the arms go the opposite way, and it's positive. So this thing will generally go positively. All right, as x gets bigger, so does y. So at this point, I could graph I'm yawning a lot. Jeez. Oh, I just hurt my neck.
Yeah, you deserve that.
Why? Because I try to talk when I yawn?
No, it's being loud.
Fine. My yawns are loud? I'm going to guess this thing is going to look something like, oh, geez, I don't know. You got your little curve in there, and then it goes up. you know, it's going to be something like that. It's definitely going to go. It's going to be in this quadrant. There's no other X or Y intercepts. We found them all. All right. There's got to be a connecting line between these. It's got to just continue going up in this quadrant, and it's got to continue going down in that quadrant. So it's going to look something like that. And let me get rid of these because these are kind of confusing to look at. Not what we're talking about. Get rid of these. Yeah. So there's a couple things. If they have you match the equation up with the graph, then like it won't matter the little minutia of like where is the slight curve. Like you'll find, oh, I know what the x and y intercept is, and I know the general end behavior, so I know that has to be this graph here. Because all the other ones, there's some problem with it. They don't have the right x intercept, they don't have the right y intercept. The arms are going up. You're doing the wrong move at the discotheque, and you don't want to do the wrong move at the discotheque. Okay, trust me, I've been there. It's not a lot of fun. Everyone else is doing the right move, you're in the wrong move. Pretty soon, the owners of the discotheque come out and they kick you out of the discotheque. And you start asking them, why do you keep saying the word discotheque? That's what you ask them. Who even calls it that anymore? Yeah, all right, so that's a cubic. That's that specific cubic. Any other questions? This is a good question. I'm glad you guys asked this. That's pretty big. We can throw some of our favorite math problems on the board.
What are our favorite math problems?
Yeah, our favorites. We got that. We got this. That's not what I want. We can also talk about what's in the corner, Levi. Have we talked about what's in the corner for a while?
No.
You might be seeing this blue box. We're seeing it. We can't stop seeing it. It's driving us crazy. We see it everywhere in our lives. This is Alta Ipsum. You can check them out at altaipsum.com. But they are. It is an app on your smartphone or your computer that lets you track your grades, set goals. It's a digital planner.
Yeah.
Basically.
If you can't afford a personal assistant, this will be your personal assistant.
Whereas, like us, Levi is my personal assistant, and I'm his personal assistant.
Right.
So we managed to, we don't have to pay each other because we're paying each other in assistantships.
Right.
Right.
It's a bartering agreement, which is actually the best way to avoid taxes.
That's true.
Yeah.
And your father would know that.
Yes.
Very good.
My father and I have a very barter-heavy relationship.
And we have a very tight bond.
We do. Very.
It's our other sponsor, Tight Bond Wood Glue. You got wood you got to put together? Use Tight Bond. Hey, over there, wood, Tight Bond. There it is. That's the jingle they wanted us to say.
Wood. Tight bond.
Wood. Tight bond. Tight bond. Wood. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's free for a month. Alt Ipsum's free for a month. What do you have to lose, huh? Try it.
Just try it.
Try it. You put all your homework in there. It'll tell you when to do it. Just listen to the app.
Why did you nap today?
I did nap.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wasn't enough. I could have slept for like 4 more hours, man. It's never enough. It's never enough.
Do you know why the French eat only 1 egg at breakfast?
Because they'd be eating 2 eggs or something?
No, because 1 egg is un œuf.
That's what French for egg, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But also English for enough.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you know why the Chinese only eat 1 egg for breakfast?
Because 1 egg is un œuf.
No, because 1 egg is 一个鸡蛋.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
That's why because
They have a long word for egg.
no, it means 1 egg. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I didn't need to say 1. I could have just said.
It sounds like a whole
I
thing.
could have just said jidan, but you're right. Sorry if my tones were not correct. Tones are very difficult.
It's a tonal language.
Chinese is a very tonal language.
Incredibly tonal.
If you don't think it is, and you try speaking it, whew, good luck.
You're gonna get beat up.
You're gonna get beat up.
Happened to Brady for many years.
Many, many hundreds of thousands of years.
Yep. Beat up the whole time.
Yep. Constantly.
You're Chinese and you understood that.
Hey!
Probably not.
Yay!
Are you Ring Matthews?
Am I Ring Matthews?
I asked you.
Are you Ring Matthews?
No!
Oh. Then why do you think I am? If
I
you
feel
were,
like
why would I be?
those are mutually exclusive.
Oh, good. Good. Matthew. Ring Matthews. Matthew Z.
Ring Matthews. Right? Tonal language. No?
I don't think those are Chinese syllables.
Ring?
And Matthews?
No, Matthews.
Oh.
Yes, now you
should have said
understand.
that before.
I did say it before.
All right. There we go. Let's keep going. It's a tonal language.
It's so tonal.
Yeah. Because I can't get over literally how tonal it is.
It's so, oh gosh.
Like English.
If I were in high school, it would like, over.
Really?
So tonal. Yeah.
So tonal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Thank God you're not in high school anymore. Yeah, that could have been bad.
Oh, yeah.
I have a child soon. What time is it?
Oh, gosh, you gotta go.
Oh.
No, this is 3 minutes past, so you're fine, but you gotta go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Matthew, if you're not too annoyed, we can continue with the writing stuff. What are you looking for? Oh, okay.
Nothing.
All right, let me blow this up. Wait. Okay. Very good. So, let's go on to the writing section. What's happening? Yes. Oh. Writing test. We are considering deleting the underlined portion, right? Should we keep it? Should we delete it? So, grammar time. That's right. You're saying bye to Brady. Yeah, he can't hear anymore. I would yell, but he's got a child. So, we have, the writer is considering adding or deleting this underlined portion. Should we keep it? Should we not? Do not answer that question as kept or deleted first. Don't do that. You still have to go through all of the answer choices. Do not try to save time by answering the question yes or no or kept or deleted ever first. You need to look at the reasoning first and ignore kept or deleted. So, let's read this sentence. Where are we? Number 5, right? Okay. These sudden environmental shifts would have rapidly driven many species to extinction, a conclusion supported by sharp declines in the levels of plankton and pollen in the fossil record after the asteroid strike. Okay. So, now we're just going to read the reasoning and see where it takes us. We don't have to know exactly what to do beforehand. That's why you shouldn't be answering kept or deleted yet. Let's just see if A makes sense. It raises an objection to the Alvarez hypothesis that is discussed in more detail in the rest of the passage. Okay. That doesn't really make sense. Okay, I'm actually a little confused here. Where is the... Okay, so the Alvarez hypothesis first emerged in 1980. I'm reading at the beginning of this paragraph up here. So these Alvarez... Oh, they're brothers, maybe. Lewis and Walter Alvarez noted the high level of iridium. So what is this? They proposed that iridium could be evidence of a massive asteroid strike that killed all the dinosaurs, yeah? Into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight. Okay. No, that doesn't really make sense to me. So I don't like A's reasoning because it's not an objection, right? They're saying that here's the Alvarez hypothesis, this is when all the dinosaurs died, and then that would be supported by what we say here, a conclusion supported by the sharp declines in levels of plankton and other stuff. So that is supporting them, not objecting. So I don't like A. B. Kept, because it provides evidence of the sudden environmental shifts mentioned earlier in the sentence. Yeah. Well, okay. Evidence for the sudden environmental shift mentioned earlier in the sentence. Does it talk about those? Yes, it does. It says these sudden environmental shifts. So that is talked about earlier in the sentence. And declines in levels of plankton and pollen in the fossil record? Yeah, that seems like evidence, right? So I like B. Let's keep going. C. It describes the effects of the asteroid impact that have already been discussed in sufficient detail. It does sort of, but I think C is a little bit off in that the main effects were that the dinosaurs died, right? I think a secondary, maybe even tertiary effect is that there are lower levels of plankton and pollen. And then I don't see why they've definitely been discussed in sufficient detail. So I don't like C. It seems a little bit off center to me. Let me know if you disagree. And then D, we have it shifts the overall focus of the passage by discussing extinctions of life forms other than dinosaurs. No, it does not discuss extinctions. It discusses sharp declines. That's not the same thing as a distinction, so D is wrong. Yeah, I don't think, and then maybe C is even worse because it's talking about the asteroid impact. It's not necessarily the impact, it's the asteroid hitting. Impact is part of it, but then also it sending stuff up into the atmosphere. So I don't like C, I like B. That's what I would put for this question. Matthew, do you have any follow-up? I put D because it's talking about dinosaurs the entire first part of the passage, but I guess more evidence other than dinosaurs to prove. Yeah. It's the problem with D, because I agree with you. It is about dinosaurs. That's what we want to talk about. But it doesn't talk about extinction. That's my problem with it. It doesn't actually say extinction. It says sharp decline in pollen and what was the other? Plankton? So that's not extinction. So that's the problem. Okay, number 10. Where's my water bottle? Okay, give me a sec. I realized that without Brady here all the time, I mean just yesterday and today, but I lose my voice very quickly talking about, especially reading section. Okay, number 10. We have which choice most logically introduces the information in the rest of the sentence. Okay, so this is a transition direction question. They're asking you a straightforward question, and we need to do exactly what they tell us. So logically introduce the info in the rest of the sentence. We don't care about the passage as a whole, really. We don't care about the paragraph as a whole. We want to logically introduce the info in this sentence. So the place to start is to look at the rest of the sentence, totally ignore the introduction, totally ignore that. Totally ignore the underlined portion, look at everything else in this sentence. So we have, but the available evidence on dinosaur extinctions suggests that environmental changes from these eruptions could have made dinosaurs more vulnerable to the devastation caused by the asteroid strike. Okay, so the info is that the info after this in the sentence is the available evidence on dinosaur extinctions suggests that the eruptions could have made dinosaurs more vulnerable for when that impact happened. Yeah? So eruptions set up asteroid strike problems. So the given one is in a 2010 article, dozens of scientists reaffirmed the whatever Chicxulub asteroid as the most likely cause for the Cretaceous extinctions. Okay, I don't really see how that sets up this other information about eruptions. I don't love it. I don't think it's awful, but I don't love it. Then B, we have most researchers dispute Keller's hypothesis that the Deccan eruptions directly caused the majority of the Cretaceous extinctions. Okay. All right, so with this transition, what I should have done is read the previous paragraph, and I would have just read it, but that allows us to transition more seamlessly from that into the next thing. We have, so the Alvarez hypothesis, which is the asteroid. Then we get this new hypothesis saying it was volcanic eruption, right? could have caused most of the extinctions. Then we have this new setup, but the available evidence in dinosaur things says that it could be both. So we want to set up, it's just we have just asteroid, just eruptions. Our intro to the eruptions made them vulnerable for the asteroid. So now let's go to C. Keller made a controversial claim that the Chicxulub asteroid struck too early in the Cretaceous period to be a major cause of extinctions. But I don't know what it is, honestly. This is, for whatever reason, I'm having trouble with this question. I think it's the but. The but is a problem because normally you set up something and they agree. You think it's B. Okay, so let's give that one another look. We have to have our intro, but then it's not really an intro. It's more we set up but the evidence says that the evidence we have now suggests the environmental changes from the eruption. So we have to go against that, right? To set up the eruptions made them vulnerable for the asteroid, we have to say that couldn't be possible, right? So if you think it's B, we have most researchers dispute Keller's hypothesis that the Deccan eruptions directly caused the majority of the Cretaceous extinctions. Yeah, okay, I like that because it comes out of Keller's hypotheses, which is right before, or Keller's hypothesis, and then, so we say most of them dispute that, but the available evidence on dinosaurs says it could have at least set up the asteroid stuff. Okay, I like that. That's pretty good. I think that C doesn't really... So we want both things. And I think that B probably does work best. Layers of lava from the Deccan eruptions contain numerous fossils that have been of interest to science. Okay, D is terrible. Yeah, so C is not mentioning you want to have both things. And D is terrible. I don't know why we would introduce an article for A. And we are coming out of Keller's hypothesis. Yeah, I agree. I think it's B. Keller made a controversial claim that the Chicxulub asteroid struck too early. Yeah, I don't know why you would say C. That I agree. It does seem out of order. We already have their thing. It's B. Cool. All right. There we go. So again, with this one, it's a direction question. So read exactly what they want. You are setting up the information in this sentence, in the rest of this sentence. And then what we had to do is look at the previous paragraph. I didn't do that first, and that's why I had so much trouble with this. There you go. That's why you followed the directions. Or, yes, but then that's why you take the same approach every time. If you realize you're doing a transition, read before and after. Okay, which choice provides a supporting example that is most similar? Did we do this one? No. Okay. So, another direction question. I am sensing, well, it's not really, but these are direction questions. So they ask you something specific. They're generally not super, super challenging to understand, but people don't really read the directions that carefully, and they get into hot water that way. So we have, which choice provides a supporting example that is most, which choice provides a supporting example, so we want an example that is most similar to the other example in the sentence. Okay, so we need an example that's similar to the other one. First step is to figure out what the first example is, earlier in the sentence, right? Or just the other example. So let's just read the whole sentence. In the 1700s, readers across Europe liked a series of poems purportedly written by Ossian, a legendary Scottish poet and storyteller from the 3rd century. Oh, whatever. Okay. So, something happened, and the French general Napoleon Bonaparte so admired the poems that he commissioned 2 paintings of Ossian to be hung in his summer palace. Okay, so that's the other example, right? Napoleon loved the poem so much that he had 2 paintings of the poet, supposed poet, put in his palace. So what example is that clear and or is similar to that, saying that people like this poet Ossian? Okay, so here's the big idea. We like this poet Ossian. We have our example, and then we have Napoleon loved him and put paintings of him in his palace. So A, Ossian was said to have worked in the oral rather than the written tradition. No, that's not an example of people liking him like Napoleon Bonaparte and then doing stuff. No good. Literary critics compared Ossian to the revered poets Homer and Dante. I don't love it. That is other people now, so it's better than A, but my guess is that's not the right answer. The poems of Ossian feature well-known characters from other Gaelic poems. No. Again, that's talking about the poems themselves, and we're not talking about the poems themselves. We're talking about people's responses to them. And then D, we have Ossian himself appears in the poems as a narrator. No. I don't like that either. So I would say it's B. I didn't like it at first. But okay, now the more I look at it, it does make sense now. It's really it's an example showing how great he was, or how much people respected his work, which is they compared his work they compared Ossian to Homer and Dante, who are big shot poets, right? And then the other one was Napoleon liked him a lot and made pictures of him. So I thought B was a little too far away, but because I was eliminating answer choices, I came back to it because it was the best one, even though I don't like it that much. Okay, let me know if you have any questions on that. And we did 17, right? And we did 22. And that's it. Woo! Okay. So, this is finished, right? Do you have any other questions? Do you want me to go over any of those again? I'm happy to. I don't really want to, but I will. With the direction questions on the writing section, if you see text that's not answer choices, read that text super, super carefully. Those relationships that they establish there are very, very important. These tests are not about... They're not so much about your understanding of what you've read. They're much more testing you on... I mean, you have to have a certain baseline of reading comprehension to be able to tackle this test at all. And the better your reading comprehension is, the better you'll do. But the test itself asks confusing questions that are very, very, very specific, and they give you answer choices that allow for your confusion. And if you take the wrong approach, you're going to be letting yourself go in the wrong direction and being fooled by the answer choices. I think most of the writing ones I missed weren't grammar, but just comprehension. Yeah, that's true. But the way, yes. The way to deal with that is to really pay attention to the questions and the wording, and then eliminate answer choices. And that last one, I didn't like B, but I eliminated the other ones. Your reading comprehension is at whatever level it is, right? And of course you want to improve that, so read more. But when you're doing these answers, when you're trying to pick the right answer, you get led astray if you're trying to see, does this make sense to me? Don't ask that question. Ask the question, I don't want this to be right, or how can I disprove this? And try to disprove it. You make fewer mistakes when you're poking holes in ideas rather than trying to rationalize them. Because you can rationalize ideas. That's what we do as people. We do stupid stuff, we do the wrong stuff, and we convince ourselves that it's right in the moment. Don't do that. Convince yourself that things are... Don't convince yourself, but prove things wrong. Be logical. See, this is not supported. This is irrelevant. This is a jumble of the relationships here. Those are the big ones. And that way you'll make fewer mistakes, I promise. Any other questions? It can be about the reading section. It can be about the writing section. It can be ACT specific. It can be SAT specific, math, whatever you want. Just get a Discord? No. Okay. So I've got 10 minutes. So please ask me questions. But I am pretty tired, so I'm happy to come up with questions, but if you all don't have any specific ones, then I'll probably just end stream a couple minutes early, because my head hurts, and I want to answer your questions, so you got to ask them. But I'm not going to make up my own that may or may not help you at all, that are likely not to. I'll give you 20 seconds, or you can say wait, and then whatever. Matthew, you said that you were taking the test in June 1st test, right, for the SAT? Do you have any more Discord questions? Remainder theorem. Remainder theorem is June, you are. Shoot. Okay. How does this work again? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I forget the remainder theorem off the top of my head. Let me just look it up real quick, and then I can explain it. It's a bad day for me, I think, brain-wise. Remainder theorem. Come on. Yeah, this is how teaching works, right? The teacher looks it up. Why didn't that work? Thank you. Oh, that's dumb. Okay. So, yeah, this is worthless. What happened? Nothing happened. Okay, this is remainder theorem. So it's saying that whatever your function is. So let's say your function is x squared minus 3x plus 4. Okay? And you are saying you're dividing it by x minus 7. Then rather than doing this and doing polynomial long division of x minus 7 and doing this or doing synthetic, this says that technically what you can just do is you can say f of 7, whatever that is. So f of 7 would be 7 squared minus 3 times 7 plus 4. And this is 49 minus 21 plus 4, which is 28 plus 4 is 32. So that is... Wait, did I mess this up? Oy. It's the remainder when you do this. It's not the actual quotient. Right? Yeah. So it's, I don't know how to write that. Let's do remainder of this thing. Yeah, then it's a factor. Sure. Okay. So so that would make sense as well. If you're saying that your remainder is 0, then that means it's a factor. So if you're asking, okay, is x minus 7 a factor of this? Well, you plug in 7 for this, and if it equals 0, then you do have a factor. Because if your remainder is 0, then of course, like by doing this division, if you get a remainder of 0, then this does go in evenly, which means it's a factor. This is fine. It's fine. It's not useful because as soon as you do this, it doesn't work anymore. If you square the x or do anything funky with the x, what's wrong with me? Then it doesn't work. I think Brady did a proof for this like last week. I want to say last week. Yeah, so remainder theorem. And if you have, oh right, they do use p, don't they? Yeah. This is very uncommon. I've seen it twice on the SAT, not on the same test. I've seen it twice on 16 different tests in total, maybe 3 times. It's fine to know if you just have it in your head. I wouldn't worry about it too much unless you're, at the level of, you got most of the other stuff down. But it's not a super important skill to have. Okay. Anything else, Matthew? Doesn't look like we have questions in the Discord. There are questions that are sort of like that, Neo. They're not where you necessarily have to factor. They might ask it on the calculator section, and so you have to graph it and maybe find your zeros. Well, I haven't seen much of that. They might have you. Brady did a. Yeah, they could do something like, what are the zeros of That's not what I meant. You know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. So they might ask you for the zeros of that function, in which case you would factor. Now it's not the normal factoring. This would be a little bit that you just factor out your greatest common factor, which is x to the 6th. You get x. That's not what I meant to do. Let's see what happens. X squared. Oh, it is. Yes. X squared minus 4. Now this is still factorable, so you have x to the 6th times x plus 2, x minus 2. Now that's your function. Your zeros are x equals 0, and then positive and negative 2. To graph this, you would have zeros at here and here. You'd be opening up because your leading coefficient is positive, and you bounce at 0. So this is your other factor, or 0. Bounce at that, so it would look something like that. So they might have you do something like that, but you don't. If you're not going to have x to the 8th minus 3 halves x to the 7th plus 4x to the 5th, and have to, legitimately factor that type of thing, or do harder factoring on it. With those bigger, scarier questions, they're generally more concept based. So you're not going to be heavy in arithmetic, most likely. It'll just be, okay, you need to bring to the forefront of your mind. Yes, sure. You could think of it that way. Yeah. If this is, so with these things, at least with graphing, you bounce if the exponent is even, and you go straight through if the exponent is odd. And so these exponents are 1 and 1. I wouldn't think of it as x being 0 6 times. It's just that this this is a factor, this is a factor, this is a factor. But yeah, you could feasibly break up x to the 6th as multiple different factors, as 6 different factors. Yeah. Either way. Ooh. So are y'all just pros at writing backwards? Oh. I feel like you've asked this before. We are not pros at writing backwards. We flip the screen. So I'm right. This is my right hand. We just flip it with the computer. It's very simple. Yeah. All right. It is time for me to head out, but I'll see you tomorrow. Matthew, Neo, hope to see you back here tomorrow, and bring more questions. If you want to do more math stuff, we can do a deep dive into math. We can do more reading. We can do more writing. We can do whatever you want. Just help yourselves out. Help us, help you by bringing questions. Have a good night.